carry. Look at the AD carries that are being played. Corki, Ezreal, Lucian. Good luck catching that Victor.
And I just don't understand the Rylai's Crystal Scepter in the build. If you are going to go the Victor, go damage. You're against double AD carry. Don't go for the CC because Lucian doesn't care about it. Corki's got 2 repositions at the moment if he has that package. So, I don't hate the Victor pickup. I just think that you have to play around it, and teams aren't really doing that. They're just picking him as a stock standard mage, and it's not really working out.
No, it isn't working out. At least not in that game for EPA, but we are into the draft for game number 2. Misfortune banned away by EPA. Snake will take Gangplank as their first one. So a bit of a targeted ban there on the blue side.
Yeah, and you see that the Gangplank, once again, being respected by both sides of the draft. Gangplank's still that champion that if anyone can play him on the map and you're not on the blue side, you have to ban it.
Yep, don't want to deal with that one. So Gangplank, once again, on red side will be respected. And there's Corki, actually. So 2 different AD carries banned by EPA.
And last time around they banned Gangplank, Quinn, Ryze. So maybe feeling like the Gangplank and Ryze have to be respected from the Snake side of the draft now. So they can ban new things on the side for Energy Pacemaker.
Well, LeBlanc ban again for Snake, so that's 2 for 2. Do not want to give one over to Republic, it seems, but does deny Tank the pick as well. And now EPA have to decide, what do they really want for first pick here? Because Snake could do a lot of different things with their last ban.
Yeah, they certainly could. And, we've seen a lot of Lissandra Graves going 1-2 on the red side. Lulu going to be banned away here by EPA, and that really is a pick of the mill right now. Kindred's going to get through. Tom Kench most likely going to get through. What do EPA want?
Well, Ryze was banned by Snake, so that's not an option because that would have also been another consideration. I wondered if Snake were going to leave it up just to see if they could get it in a rotation, but we do see a lot of Alistar priority. It was Snake's first pick, and it is going to be EPA's in this game.
Alistar's a great first pick. However, Trundle seems to do fairly well against him there in the bottom lane. So I'm just taking a look at this and wondering, is that really the most worthwhile pick? Get it away from Allah. He certainly had a good game. But there is really a lot. Like Tom Kench right now in the top lane. So brutal. Can kind of answer any split push. Just gets incredibly tanky. Very versatile as a support still. The likes of Graves, Lissandra. There's just so many key first picks that I don't know whether Alistar, with all the supports up, is really that much of a priority, although we've seen it time and time again, so he must be.
Yeah, certainly in the LPL it looks to be that way, but I do like the Rek'Sai pickup again from ZZR. Had a great game on the champion. Just such a good competitive jungler, given all the info you get. And he was able to apply great pressure, so he's going to revisit that one for a second game. But Snake are considering Trundle, probably one of the better teams to flex it, and it is going to be Trundle picked up there by Flandre, but could of course go to Ella as well, to have plenty of options there with their first 2 picks.
Yeah, and I really like the Trundle versus Alistar matchup because Alistar goes all in. And as soon as he does that, you just throw the Trundle pillar at the AD carry. Your AD carry is generally able to reposition backwards away from their Alistar. And then it's just support hitting support. And Trundle actually does really well in that matchup. He's able to take a fair amount of abuse and from the passive alone sustain through a lot of what is coming out. So expect Ella to jump on that one. Has been playing it fairly well. I believe he has 2 games, and there's yet to be a top Trundle game out of Snake, so see whether this is something like his Janna. Janna and Trundle are kind of like similar to me, and it's funny to say.
Yeah, they're a bit. Certainly playstyle-wise, I can see there's a bit of overlap there, but Graves, Lucian are the picks, so taking all the AD carries away from Snake this game are EPA. That's going to leave Martin on something else. The Quinn is open, and it was banned in the last game. Could be the pickup here. Plenty to go with here for Snake, and they're already comfortable with their draft. Again, you look at this sort of soft front lines that a lot of teams are building with their multiple threat comps. Rek'Sai tank jungler, Trundle sort of a semi-tank support. If he goes top lane, especially with farm, will be very tanky. So I feel like, again, Graves is less of a squishy jungler than Kindred, but maybe suffers from a similar problem.
And this is really cute out of the whole lineup here because they have so many flex picks and options if this is what they lock in. Poppy, Quinn, Poppy, great support, great top laner. Trundle can go top laner or support as well.
Tristana.
That is Tristana.
You're just talking about it.
They look honestly the exact
same. I'm not disagreeing with you, but Quinn is locked in. Looks like it might be Trist
sorry
here.
to say, like, how is that
That's
not
the order
Poppy?
list. Come on, man. That's definitely Tristana, and we'll be locked in here for Snake. Trist, Quinn are the picks for Snake.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Their fringe goes a different way. That is what I've got to remember.
They still have a lot of flex picks, though. Yeah, they're facing different directions. Yeah. There you go.
Whatever. Anyway, Quinn probably going to go into that top lane. expect Flandre to want to pick up an assassin this time around, although we saw Rookie do work with it in the mid lane.
And Tom Kent's still open as well, which we did maybe forget about. So it could be the pick here for Gimgoon if they do want to beef up their tank line by a pretty significant amount. I would like this pick. I would like these picks here from EPA. Would round out their draft quite nicely if they do want to go for Ezreal or Tahm Kench. There's the Tahm Kench locked in. And are they going to go for Ezreal as well? Seen a lot of blue Ezreal all around the world. Champion is obnoxious, to say the least. And in the hands of a good player is good. EPA, they're taking their time.
Especially when you look at the lineup right there. Is a Quinn that can get onto the back line, but Trundle, he's very easily kiteable. Same with ZZR if he doesn't have his ultimate available on the the tunnel available on the Rek'Sai. So it's a very kiteable lane. We always talk about, triple AD carry, get the 2 best kiting supports you can. Alistar, not a bad kiting support. Tahm Kench, fantastic kiting support. So they should be able to right now just siege down turrets EPA, never really commit to a fight unless they like it. And there's still a lot of surprising burst damage from the entirety of the lineup.
Yep, and Snake are now trying to figure out what they want for last pick. It does seem like Quinn will be Flandre's champion this game, unless Ella has really been getting creative. But might be going to the Victor, which is interesting in this team comp. They do have some setup for it. But I have to think with Quinn, you're pretty much always playing 4v4 ideally. Because Quinn almost never wants to join your team fight unless it's, to swoop in and collect a kill here or there.
Yeah, it certainly is the case. And once again, I just don't like the Victor in the team comp. Nothing personal, Victor. I just don't think right now is your meta. But will be what is locked in.
And we'll see if Tank changes his build at all. He's going to go back to a mage here. And again, it's a bit more of that utility, just more control mage here, where we've definitely seen a bit more success from Tank on the likes of LeBlanc. And
I just think if you're going to play Victor in the current meta, play a Nivea. Like, fairly similar, both low mobility, wave clear mages, but much better terrain control out of an Nivea right now and better objective secure. But we'll see whether Tank is able to make the Victor work. We saw last time around, not really much luck from EPA running it. Very execution-heavy focused out of the EPA lineup one more time, however.
Yeah, I mean, double AD, actually triple AD carry comp here. This is very typical of this metagame. Tahm Kench, Alistar, and then 3 AD carries. Pick your positions.
Yeah, and Crisis, had Kindred last time around. This time Graves, he's got the tanky AD jungler at least, and we'll see if he's able to have a better performance on the Graves, because, as we said, if you're a good Kindred player, you can get ahead in nearly any matchup. But he just wasn't able to get the work done early that would make him as relevant as the game progressed.
Yeah, and I wonder if Martin is going to get as much attention as well. I have to think Flandre is comfortable. And if he can get ahead, he can certainly start split pushing and doing more typical Flandre things. But we did see a lot of focus from Martin and Tank. It does seem like Martin is going to be the centerpiece of this comp. So he's going to have a pretty good time. So we are going to see if he can get it done. Can Snake claim it 2-0 or are EPA going to force a third? I guess we're going to find out soon. And we're back onto the rift for game number 2. EPA, definitely a more typical draft this time around. Snake mixing things up a bit, actually quite a lot given their last team comp. Definitely going back to some of their old ways here with Flandre and Martin being more of that focus. We'll see if Tank have maybe a bit more of a redeeming game on one of these control mages. Or if it does seem like mid-Corki and LeBlanc maybe the only ways out for the team.
Yeah, we'll see whether he is able to, I guess, execute and stay safe against what is a lot of surprising burst damage out of Ezreal Graves. No CC, so we should have a reasonably easy time in that mid lane. But the whole of the Snake lineup, once again, just looks like, they can get a lane swap here. Ranged AD carry top laners deal with lane swaps very well. They can push quickly, help that first turret shove, then in the 2v1 stay relatively safe. Tristana, better lane swapper than what you would say a Lucian is. So all things point right now to Snake wanting to play, once again, a macro-style map, and EPA cannot let them themselves fall like 3,000 gold behind this game. Because if they do, will be a relatively short one.
Yeah, we saw what Rookie could do on a Queen once he snowballed ahead. Flounder can cause perhaps similar chaos from the top lane, but looks like lane swap is going to get scouted out here as Romantic's making his way towards that top half of the map. Martin and Ella are already on the Krugs, so they'll start the lane with a little bit of a lead.
So this is really smart out of EPA. I always talk about the fact that if Snake go for deep vision, they're looking for standard lanes. If they blind swap, then they're generally swapping. And EPA seem to have scouted that because right now they just blindly move to the top side of the map and wait for the Tristana as well as the Trundle to arrive.
Yep, you can see Romantic just chilling out. He's going to take all 3 CS there with the Q. Alistar now going to move up after warding the red. Although actually pinging for a roam mid lane by the looks of things.
Yeah, so if they are able to get in behind. No, they abandoned that instead. Alistar going top lane. JZ, you got to be careful, man. You're only level 1.
He's going where he should be, but you can see Ella and Martin already level 2. Alistar, very squishy before 6. Especially at low levels. Is going to have to walk the long way around as well. So not quite sure what they wanted to do in mid lane there, but didn't work out certainly for EPA. And they're actually pretty far behind in experience right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. You see they're behind in CS as well. It's a slightly stacked up minion wave, but definitely wasn't 9 creeps in there. And you can see right now 10-1 in the bottom lane means that Flounder is completely demolishing Gimgoon.
Yep, you have to think that Tahm Kench will eventually get tanky enough to ignore Quinn for a little bit, but Quinn's got such a strong early power. We saw it yesterday in mid lane for Rookie. It's not going to be quite as lopsided as the Vega matchup from yesterday's matchup, but Gimgoon's certainly going to struggle early on here. Just have to chill out and be Tahm Kench and eventually get tanky. As you can see, pushing in aggressively here. You kind of have to as Tristana, like you mentioned already. But more than happy to just push this lane in, especially after they already got an experience lead. JZ is still only level 2.
And the way I measure lanes with Tristana is how many... Wow, Republic's in trouble.
Yeah, good gank actually there from ZZR. Arcane Shift will get him to safety, but once again, strong pressure there from the Rek'Sai.
Able to chase him straight out of lane as well, as all of a sudden, Allah now looking to put some pressure on Crisis.
Does not have his smite, I don't think, and Martin going to come in as well. This could actually just be a straight-up steal. It could be a battle. Good move there from Crisis to get it with under the line, and now JZ is going to get himself to pulverize Ella. Forced to back away here. Martin doing damage, but Romantic's going to come down as well. No one from mid can join just yet, so it's 2v3 as Romantic hops himself away from the traffic cone. Martin going to now turn the chase on. Scuttlecrab's going to give them a bit of a boost here in the exchange, but ambitious from Martin to say the least. They will back away. And a blue secured there for Graves.
Yeah, double summoner spell burnt for Ella there on the Trundle. But you have to say that Scuttlecrab definitely helped out, able to get Martin in and out of that fight a couple of times as Ella was able to escape. That's really not going to mean much, except for the fact that ZZR gets an extra camp while all that funny business is going on.
You can see Crisis now is actually moving in towards the top side. He's sneaking in for a lane gank, but doesn't want to go too far to the right. He will be spotted by a ward, I believe. And they know they have to push in here. Crisis has the right idea, but a little late here as Martin's already shoving that wave towards the turret.
JZ knows that there are no summoner spells right now on the Trundle, but as you said, gank will be abandoned. Instead, we'll just go back to farming everywhere. Right now, that looks like it's certainly serving Snake well, because they're up 10 CS in nearly every single lane.
Yep, tank looking good. Just hanging out here against Ezreal. Kind of just have to dodge Qs, and oh, nice trade actually as well. Does Duke the Mystic shot as well. Just happy to keep these minions here in last hit. And Flounder just constantly pushing into this tower. Feels absolutely no threat at all. He has no vision in this bottom side of the map, but he's playing with reckless abandon right now.
Yeah, he certainly is. You can see able to get those procs of the Thunderlords in. Continue to try and chunk out and harass Gimgoon. What I was going to say about the Tristana lane is it's generally how many times you can get it to hit the opponent's turret. If you can get the lane to continually be just shoved into the opponent's turret, that means you're winning as a Tristana. Because that means you're freely auto-attacking, shoving up whenever you want. As you can see right now, Romantic and Ella looking for an engage.
Yeah, nice pillar, but just dashes over it, does Lucian, and that's actually going to prompt a recall by the looks of things. Martin has pressed the recall button, so probably has a first item to go pick up. Goes back, and there's that BF sword right on time.
Yeah, so as long as they're able to continually shove this lane, things will be good for them. You can see 46 CS. It's when it really bounces and gets back under your turret, you have to start burning mana on that satchel charge, really focusing more on last hitting than harassing out, which is never a good thing as a Tristana, especially when you have such a good disengaged support like Trundle. Can avoid pretty much any gank at this stage of the game from the Graves.
And you can see Romantic is actually trying to push it back in and force Martin to clear it as inefficiently as he can as far as mana goes. Flounder level 6 now, but Doesn't have too many places to go from the bottom lane.
Romantic actually stayed in the top lane way too long. Like, Martin's going to be able to shove out that lane incredibly quickly now. And that will hopefully mean that Snake get even more pressure on one of these turrets, as you can see exactly what I mean. Last hitting under turret sucks as Tristan sometimes. But
guessed wrong.
Yeah, because of how late they recalled there, Tristana should get another free wave. And the CS looks pretty even right now. But that should be another 6 CS as long as Martin plays his cards right in the favor of Snake.
Yep, just uses that 1E. Able to chunk down the wave. And once again, back into the turret. Tristana just really wants to farm up in the early stages. And Martin's got plenty of room to move here in this game. His junglers have not done too much here as far as early pressure goes. Lots of farming for Crisis, sort of what we expect from Graves. And just that one little bit of mid-pressure from ZZR. Looks like Tank's going to go ahead and get his blue buff. Now, it does have TP, much like Republic had in the last game, so could look to make some teleport plays here. But again, just a very calm mid-game. No hyper-aggression this time around. No first bloods in solo kills. As Crisis is once again here in top lane, but is being spotted by a ward.
Yeah, he's just standing on a ward. They can see the flank now coming in from the Alistar as well. So Graves Alistar not going to get anything done. This is a frustrating thing about playing Graves with multiple AD carries on the lineup. You cannot gank mid. Like, there's no way Republic and Crisis get anything done there. He's wasting a lot of time in the Alistar lane. In fact, getting counter jungled. Republic going in.
Yeah, actually, nice little kite around, forcing the flash out. Low on mana here is Tank, but ZZR's going to try and save him. Needs to turn it around. The death ray's there, and first blood does go to Rek'Sai.
And he survives with 17 health pastry time. He's just able to juke the last Q. Definitely saved his life. And ZZR, we mentioned the fact that he was just farming up a Storm. Great collapse onto the mid lane, able to pick up a first blood for himself as well. Now 10 CS up and at a big camp as well as that kill.
Then again, continuing to be impressed by ZZR's Rek'Sai once more. It's not the same pressure given the lane swap situation as it was in game 1, but every time he visits a lane, it seems to be the correct place to go, and that's a sign of a very good jungler. So props to ZZR.
And the other thing is, when you're playing a good ganking jungler against someone that brings a lot of damage, one of the things you have to worry about is Crisis there for the counter gank? So they know that Crisis can't get an initial gank off for himself, and that's what he's looking for because they don't want to fall behind. So ZZR's like, you know what, I'm not going to give him a counter gank opportunity, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to control vision by going my Tracker's Knife first, and then I'm just going to be able to ward up and make sure that I'm scouting exactly where the Graves is without doing anything aggressive. You can see, once again, in the mid lane, looking to save his
Has to go for it. Damage might be there. Crisis has the ulti. True Shot Barrage is enough. And Ella's there too late with ZZR to save Victor this time.
Yeah, so they try and once again collapse for the counter game, but this time it's Snake
in
big trouble.
Huge pulverize there onto 2 as Ella is going to go down. Romantic now pops the culling onto ZZR as Crisis wants to go over. Can't do it just yet, though, and this could be a 4-man shove in the mid lane.
Yeah, it certainly could be, and that's just Tank being way out of position without information on the bottom side of mid lane. He burnt the Summoner spell last time around, and it looks like this triple AD carry comp going to make short work of the mid lane turret.
Yep, unsurprisingly, do get it down, and that's the first structure of this game. EPA get a very important break there in mid, and Tank, like you mentioned, just a little out of position there. Cost Snake quite a lot here. Martin, who was having a fun time free farming in the lane, going to have to worry a little bit more now. And Tank, on the somewhat slow Victor, is going to have even more trouble farming up.
I just really don't like Victor at the moment.
Yeah.
He's just not getting much done in the mid lane. Very easy to gank there. And you saw that that was no CC. That's just all straight up damage. But without the flash, this is why lots of people run Ghost Flash on Victor, because you kind of need both summoner spells to be safe at all times. Instead, caught out, gets taken off the map. Cost Snake a lot, honestly, of their early game pressure. You can see that even with the 2 kills and a turret up, they're still only 500 gold down.
Well, they're going to wait in this brush here on top of a pink wall. This strikes me as perhaps a bit desperate.
Well, there's nothing else they can really do in the early game. Flandre, he's going to go for a roaming build, as maybe...
Oh. Might have found someone, but that's level 5 Alistar. Not a bad target, but Romantic's firing away. Double pulp comes in. The Chaos Storm's already down, and Flandre is going to come in for a teleport here, but this looks like it might be over. Jay-Z getting low. Flandre needs to move in for the Sky Strike. Flashes in, does get the execute, but now might be in too much trouble. Damage is coming through. Good blind there onto Romantic, but Crisis swoops in to collect the kill. Now Gimgoon's down here, and he's just CCing everybody up. A good flash out of Acquired Taste, but Tank, he's going to get eaten up as well. This should be an easy kill here for whoever wants it, and it is going to be Crisis.
Yeah, Crisis now 2-0-2 this time around on the tanky AD carry jungler, having a much better game. He's found ZZR.
Oh, that looks like a kill as well. End of the line damage is there. There's a double in for Graves, and EPA still shoving mid lane.
And that's lazy out of the Snake lineup. Backing on top of a pink ward out of EPA. Crisis able to swoop in for another kill. Triple AD carry comp one more time. Pretty good at taking down structures, and that's a second mid lane turret gone.
Well, we talked about macro game. Hasn't been too much of that here, but EPA are getting the edge of every single exchange. Snake aren't really playing these spots very well, and it's costing them a lot here. Every single time you lose a fight against Triple AD carry, your towers melt.
And as a top laner, flashing in for a support. Not really the best decision from Flandre there, you have to feel, because he gave away so much pressure by taking the Alistar off the map. That just meant that when he fell, the rest of his team was collapsed on by his subsequent top laner, and everything went downhill really quickly there. So Snake, they need to hit the big reset button. Once again, it's only a 1,000 gold lead, because Martin was able to grab a turret for himself, and they still have CS advantages, but Flandre still in trouble.
Good vault. Very good vault, actually. Crisis moves in. End of the line's not going to connect. Tongue Lash isn't either. Good Devour. He's going to move him out. Crisis gets out to safety. Teleport gets cancelled by Tank. The Dragon does get collected, though. Snake will pick that up as their other first objective, but
cancelling the teleport means that there's no way to defend this turret anymore.
Yep.
So another objective will be equaled out here by EPA, it looks like, as Gimgoon just eats his jungler again.
Nice,
saves him from a turret shot.
And that looks to be the tower. Graves not the best at it, but certainly not the worst. Just going to shotgun that down. Flandre is moving back in bird form. It looks like he will be able to save the lane, but
it looks like he swims when he's like going through the air. It's kind of weird.
It is a bit. Flandre actually going back now. Interestingly enough, just wanted to move the creeps out.
Looks like they're pinging bottom lane. They want to send the Tristana into the lane with the turret still standing.
Makes sense. Martin again still needs some safe places to farm up. He's got sort of a lot of different components, but Tristana really needs 2 to 3 items to get going. And certainly 2 is crucial, so Martin's going to try and collect as much farm as he can. Flandre will take the free wave down in bottom lane, and Snake is sort of just forced to farm here. And the one that might suffer from all this could be the mid laner. Tank just does not have a whole lot of space to maneuver. He's farming up nicely right now, but he's got a big hole behind him of empty space that he does not know what's behind him.
Especially with a Tahm Kench on the team, you can just see that as an area that, you know, Tahm Kench picks up Crisis, gets in behind the mid laner, only has a flash available to really escape. Instead, it looks like they want to concentrate Flandre's lane a little bit more. So you see Crisis moving into that part of the map. Great ward control right now in the river and beyond for the EPA lineup. And this is probably the best we've seen them look. You know, even when they were taking it to M3, it was kind of scrappy League of Legends. But this time around, relatively smooth after what was a pretty shaky start.
Yeah, team play's looking good here. Crisis has done a great job once again collapsing here. And ZZR's pressure was there, but wasn't nearly as good as it was last game. His lanes, to be fair, probably weren't as nice to gank for. But it's just not been able to have the same impact early, and EPA find themselves with a small lead, but a lead nonetheless here. And more importantly, just more pressure around the map. Again, it's one of those things where you look at the gold lead, and it is a close game, but could blow out of proportion very soon. But does work for the other way as well. Snake have plenty of gold to collect that's standing there on the map, so this game's balanced pretty precariously as Crisis looking top once again.
Yeah, and you can see pinging out a ward there, making sure they know that it's pinged, so no vision if he does want to sneak through the lane.
Rek'Sai, right place now. Suspects there will be some pressure top and does come.
Teleport available for Gimgoon as well as Tank. Flandre is still a little bit away, so they need to be careful that this is an all-out collapse out of the Energy Pacemaker all lineup.
Unfortunately, Flandre can't cancel a teleport.
Oh, with his
vault, actually, you're right. It will. Never mind.
But instead, it just turns into a siege. They've got a big minion wave stack up here. They know that Alla and Martin going to have to back away. That'll be a turret.
Alistar gets aggressive, and yep, Crisis and Romantic able to clean that out very quickly. ZZR tunnels away to safety. And Ezreal, who was joining up, is probably not needed at this point. Could be a fight breaking out, actually. Snake will have to be a bit careful. Flandre is going back. His port's close to being back up. Martin going to eat a big dose of crits there as the culling comes out. Nice buster shot to cancel the end of it. And Flandre does just return the pushing out the wave. Snake starting to lose a bit more ground. 3-1 down now in turrets. 5-2 up in kills for EPA. and gold lead sitting at about 2k.
Yeah, and you're hoping that the Tristana can kind of match the pace of the other AD carries. Right now, it doesn't seem to be the case. So now it becomes a scaling battle for the Snake lineup, to be honest. Hoping that the Tristana can get huge and that the Quinn can just split push for, like, days against Tahm Kench. But eventually Tahm Kench will become this unkillable tank, and that time is starting to, I guess, approach pretty quickly.
Yep, Republic. Oh, actually takes the safe way around. Oh, blue buff, that's why. He's going to make sure he collects that and the Rift Herald buff, so going to start pressuring. Kind of weird not to see it in the bottom side of the map, but I guess Gimgoon was not in the area to collect it, so Republic will do just fine with it. As we do see Snake still trying to make ground here in the top lane. Again, they just want Martin to farm up safely. He's 20 CS ahead of Romantic so far, but got two other AD carries to potentially worry about from the jungle and mid position. And Iceborne Gauntlet's up soon for Republic. That will likely be the go button here for EPA.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. You know, double items on the AD carries would be perfect. And the scary thing is that Crisis can probably one-shot multiple members on the Snake lineup right now and be able to deal with Flandre very easily if he gets a jump on him. Same with Martin, you have to feel. And when the Perpetual Chase comes out of that blue Ezreal, Tank has a big target on himself, no mobility. Al is going to have to do his best to keep him safe in this matchup.
Yep, and Trundle can do a decent job peeling, but it's no Alistar or Janna, which is another trademark Ela champion. So Infinity Edge is done now for Martin. He's got phase 1 complete. Probably wants to get to phase 2 before he really starts thinking about some fights. And phase 3, of course, is happy time for Tristana, but still a way off from a second item, let alone that third. And Martin right now just taking what space he can. I'm surprised he's getting this much freedom, actually. There's a big open space just above him there in that lane, but you can see Snake are moving to protect him. They want to make sure he secures his farm. Yeah,
they certainly do, and you can see on the other side of the map, it's a little bit more behind. Martin already buster shots him away.
Yeah, they want the tower and they'll get it. Not a bad burning of the ultimate there for Martin. So a bit of global gold around there for Snake, but EPA answering intelligently. Going to take their last outer turret here.
As we said, you know, because there's still the mid lane outer turret and there's 2 lanes missing for Snake, there's kind of this hole in the map. So trading objectives, sure, it does nothing to the gold whatsoever, but now there's just a huge void that EPA can go into, ward up, make sure that they're using the global of the Tahm Kench to be able to cover distance. And I don't know if that's an equal trade.
Well, Republic is going to get out. Tahm Kench is going to come in to defend to mid lane, and Dragon is available, so EPA could be looking for their first. Snake did a decent job controlling that objective in the first game, although it did end before we could get to 5. EPA going to take one for themselves this time around.
Flandre in the top lane. Doesn't look like Snake really want to contest this, so Christ is going to be able to grab it by himself. And split push really does look to be the last option right now.
Seen this before from Snake. Flandre going to maybe try and pull off the one-man army once again here on Quinn. There's a champion suited to do so, but again, Snake just need more time before they actually fight, and they're pretty sure they're never fighting with Flandre at this point.
Yeah, and it's kind of, they need more time, but they need to balance that time against what Tahm Kench is going to become as the game goes on. There's no point having a great split pusher if Tahm Kench can just roam underneath your turrets with an Alistar and dive the rest of your relatively squishy lineup in their base. So they need to be able to balance this. Martin's still looking to rotate around turrets, but needs to be careful. Crisis is in that bottom lane.
Yeah, this is not a 2v3 they really want to take here, even though Flandre is moving towards the bottom side. Although, no, going to move in towards mid instead. I do like these deep wards actually going to spot Flandre moving up as poor Tank hits a true shot barrage and gets his recall cancelled. Romantic in the bottom lane now. It's going to clear out what CS he can. And it does feel like EPA have pretty much got the items they need to start something here. But haven't quite committed to it yet. Mun is getting close to that rapid fire cannon or static shield, whichever one he wants this time.
And honestly, EPA have done a great job this time around of closing the macro skill gap that seemed to have been there in game 1. Even Flandre, who's going towards a Black Cleaver now to try and get through some of this Tahm Kench armor, isn't really able to have the impact around the map we would expect out of a Quinn. Still going to have that assassination potential on someone. But the danger is, there's always that on him as well, because he's still a fairly squishy bird.
Yeah, a few too many carries as well. It's easy when there's 1 or 2, but 3 pretty much full-on carries could prove problematic, especially with 2 tanks in the way. So Flandre going to zoom out. Bird form and EPA starting to move their vision up and constrict Snake's space on the map here. Looks like Martin does have his 2 items though. So with Baron up and possibly something teams will be thinking about in the next 5 to 10 minutes, Snake might be prepared for this team fight. Again, the gold lead's not too far between these teams. About 3k up for EPA, but they're taking it quite slow here, and that is giving the Snake the time they need. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's not really the gold lead, it's the tempo right now that EPA are dictating around the map. And you can see that they're shoving into Snake all over the place. And Snake kind of feel like they don't have room on the map to move. So it's not necessarily how far behind you are, it's how far behind you feel you are right now. And this slow, suffocating style of League of Legends will eventually pay dividends for the for the EPA lineup.
Yeah, and they should feel pretty constricted here. Again, that key position in mid not being open, especially with the team mid down, does create these big holes in your map. But Snake will continue farming up. Flandre is constantly swooping in between places as a bird. But he's going to go looking between the lines, actually just doing some jungle instead. And now going to return back to that bottom side of the map, continue farming. Level 13 to level 14. So the top lane is on both sides, scaling up nicely. And it does feel like we've got somewhat of a race here, but I feel like Tahm Kench wins most of the race as he enters, ironically.
I actually can't think of a race that Tahm Kench loses right now. He deals with all split pushes relatively well. He becomes very tanky. He does a ridiculous amount of damage with only tank items.
Well, it does have 2 right now. 2.5 actually, so almost at 3 items, which is sort of the big tank threshold. Martin's going to have his work cut out for him, trying to kill him. Again, a lot of that work is on him. Nice true shot barrage, good poke. Does land in onto the Tristana, and it does seem like EPA are starting to group for an objective now. They've got control over the Baron area with their vision. They know Flandre is a bit of a problem, but Gimgoon can likely go down and at least neutralize that threat. And then we'll either have the 4v4 or more likely the teleports and the 5v5 that EPA seem to be looking for with their lead.
But the thing is, Snake always kind of have deep wards that they can teleport to. Right now there's 1 in the brush just next to the mid lane turret, but that's really all. So Flandre doesn't really have the position, and EPA have started up Baron.
Confident call here, but strong one here for EPA. Teleport is coming in. Ella's going to spot it out. Does put the traffic cone down, but might get the news a little too late.
Flandre's
EPA with triple AD carry are burning down the Baron. Flandre is here. He actually forced to pop the ulti, but isn't going to get the Baron in time. Maybe just a fight here as Snake look to run away. EPA are looking for the initiation. Gimgoon is going to get snared up. Oh, the tongue frozen in midair. As the two-shot barrage will go a bit wide.
So Snake successfully disengaged. They're not looking for the fight at all. Flandre's bottom lane after burning the teleport. But that's a triple AD carry comp with Baron and an Alistar. Flandre, you need to get back mid.
Well, he's going to take this way, but looks like the towers are going to melt. There's a big open space in mid as well, and this tower's absolutely dead. There's so much damage. In fact, Crisis is just going in. Gets eaten up by Gimgoon, so can do so relatively safely. This inhib might fall before Flandre gets back. In fact, he's not coming back at all.
Flandre's, guys, you're on your own. I'm going bottom lane, but with the empowered recalls, he's not even going to get a turret for his troubles, and EPA storm down the mid lane and kick in the front door.
Yep, front door well and truly down, as recalls will be stopped a little bit by Trundle. Flandre forced to leave, though. He knows the recalls are there. Tahm Kench
is coming. All of a sudden, there might be a window where they can fight if they can catch Crisis.
Oh,
Flandre wants it.
He's going to swoop in, pops the Ghost Blader. Seems like they have some vision here. He's going to spot 2, finds Crisis. That's the target. Damage is down. Good knock up there from ZZR, but the face of the mountain may just save him. Now the pole run. Oop, headbutt, a little bit awkward. Does move Flandre out, who vaults very nicely out of the red pit.
The acrobatics. That was pretty nice.
Neat mechanics there from Flandre, but no kills on either side. EPA defend from the Quinn nicely. And again, the team play seems to be coming up trumps here.
9 out of 10 people just flashed that pastry time.
Not Flandre.
The 10th one was Flandre.
Still looking sharp here, but fancy mechanics may not be enough to pull this game out of the position it's in. This is a tough spot to be in. Gold lead's only 4,000 now, but EPA are not done with this Baron buff.
Yeah, and you know, this is not where Snake wanted them, you know. The minion wave streaming into the base. Don't let it fool you, not free gold, because there's a triple AD carry comp that's going to siege relatively well around the map. And you can see that Flandre, he wants to be where the other team isn't right now in the side lane split pushing. But with Baron, he just doesn't do it at the same rate.
Yeah, sort of has to be as well. Just doesn't have all the items yet for Quinn. So either get a good assassination or take out turrets nice and quickly. Really looking for rapid fire cannon, but seems like kind of a long way off from that one. As ulti is going to come down bottom side, actually. Tank going to eat a bit of the culling. ZZR forced to tank up some of it, but Baron minion still here. Flandre still not back, and this is just going to be more turrets for Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, it certainly is. They burn Tank's ultimate again to try and save it. It's not going to be saved, and that's another turret going down.
Flandre gets one, but that's not enough. It looks like he's still pushing as well. Snake just forced to kind of bleed objectives here, and that's going to be a second inhibitor falling.
They're just acknowledging the fact right now that they cannot fight. They're trying to stop recalls and maybe trade an inhibitor back.
Baron buff still hasn't worn off, so these recalls are still good. Now they're going to turn and fight. Snake realize that this is not a good place to be, but they're just buying as much time as they can. Flandre does actually break the top side, but Gimgoon seems to have ulted into the back. Tank is in trouble now. ZZR is going to get forced out of the base. Ella needs to recall up here as well. Flandre is still going to work here on the inhib. He might just take it, but the game could just end here. Romantic could find ZZR. Damage is there. These Nexus turrets are starting to bleed, and now Flandre makes his way back, but I think it might be too late. Martin's going to die to the ulti of Graves. Flandre is going to make it back barely, but the Nexus is now exposed. They're going to have to fight here. Tank gets blown up as Gimgoon collects that next kill. Romantic chasing over ZZR is going to solo him easily, and Flandre just can't carry all of this. He does take out Graves, but he gets knocked up. The damage is there. The ace will complete, and Snake pretty much surrender the game with that play. That will be going to game number 3 as EPA roll right over them.
Yeah, in the end, they go for what was a haphazard team fight, but their heart just wasn't really in that one page 3 time. EPA steal a win back, and you have to think after that Baron, everything fell apart.